So if you've ever done a seller finance real estate deal, one of the things you probably know is that as part of your closing process, you have to figure out who is going to handle the collection of these payments for the life of the loan. Are you going to have the borrower send these payments directly to you? Or are you going to use a loan servicing company and have the borrower send payments to some third party and have them manage it? I wouldn't say there's necessarily one right or wrong answer, but I will say some choices are definitely going to involve a lot more work from you than others. And one of the options that I just recently learned about is this company called ZimpleMoney. And what makes them unique is that you don't necessarily have to get a loan servicing company involved, but through their service you can sync up with the borrower's bank account of their choice and have their monthly payments automatically withdrawn. And when you do it this way, they don't have to send any checks anywhere, they don't have to remember to make the payment. It just comes out automatically, which for obvious reasons makes it a lot easier for them and for you, and drastically reduces the likelihood that they're going to have a late payment or a missed payment because it's just happening automatically. So in this video, I want to just take you through the ZimpleMoney system and just show you how it works. And as I think you'll see, it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy to use. And it's obviously not something you have to do, but if you're looking for an alternative that is a heck of a lot easier than asking the borrower to manually mail you checks every single month, this is definitely an option you should be looking into. So if you want to follow along with me, I'll show you how it works. All right, so when you first get to ZimpleMoney's website, you're going to see a page that looks something like this. And all you have to do is pretty much exactly what it says. You just have to go ahead and register. So I'll go ahead and do that right here. Just go ahead and fill this stuff in and then click this thing down here saying that you've read the terms of use and you accept it, and go ahead and click register. And then the system makes you go through the standard process where it sends you an email and you have to go ahead and confirm that. So I'll go ahead and do that quickly. Okay, so I got the email, I clicked the link, and then it brought me here to this page saying that the registration is confirmed. So once that's done, we're going to go ahead and go up here and log in. And once I input my login credentials, we'll just go ahead and click this. And then this is what it looks like once you first log into your account. And ZimpleMoney has a number of different pricing plans, and depending on how frequently you are extending loans to people, that should sort of determine what kind of plan you sign up for. This right here is an outline of the plans that they offer at the time of this recording and what those prices look like. And if you scroll through this, what you can sort of notice is that really for the most part, all these fees and transaction costs are pretty similar across the board. The main thing that differentiates these plans from each other is this line right here, and then also the one above it, the subscription plan cost. So as you can see here, there's this one called Essential, and whenever you sign up for a new account, that's automatically the one that you have, and the good thing about it is that it's free. But the downside of it is that for every new loan you create, it's going to cost you $159 to set that up, which is kind of steep. If you're somebody who's going to be extending loans on a pretty regular basis, say if you're doing 2 or 3 or more per year, in those cases, you're probably going to want to look over here at these business plans called the Plus and the Pro. And the main difference between these two is that they both have a monthly subscription cost. The Plus is $20 a month, Pro is $35 a month, and the setup costs for a new loan are pretty close. I mean, they're basically the same thing. One is $39, one is $35. But the main difference between these two is this right here where it talks about being an ACH merchant. With the Pro account, you basically have to send in an application and get approved and then pay another $395 once you get that approval. But what that means is that once you have that approval, it actually gives you quite a bit more power, which is a little bit different from the Plus account. With the Plus plan, whenever you set up a new loan, what's going to happen is you will input the email address of your borrower, and the system will send them an email, and the borrower can set up their own account where they enter in all their own bank account information. And it's just completely in their court and in their hands to go through those steps and set it up correctly on their behalf. So it's kind of hands off for you and depends on them to take some steps and complete that process. However, with the Pro account, you can actually take their information, assuming they provide it to you, and you can fill this stuff out for them. So it kind of gives you more control over making sure that information gets put into the system. So if you're somebody who's going to be doing like dozens of these things a year, then you may want to consider the Pro account simply because it gives you a little bit more freedom and control over the process of setting up a new loan. But just looking at somebody like myself, the Plus account is probably what I would sign up for, just given my situation where I always have a handful of seller finance deals out there at any given time. And in any given year, I might add a few new ones to the books, but I'm not really somebody who's doing like hundreds of these. So as far as I'm concerned, the Plus plan would be more appropriate for me. But again, that's totally in your court. You can decide what you want to do with that. I'm just sort of letting you know how I would look at that. So with that in mind, if we go back to our account here, I'm going to go over here where it says account, click on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to upgrade my subscription, because right now I just have ZimpleMoney Essential, and that's not really the long-term account that I would want to have in my situation. So I'll go ahead and click on this. And what I want to do is ZimpleMoney Plus, which is going to cost me $20 a month. And if I wanted to do ZimpleMoney Pro, I could go down here and click this and send in an application to get approved for that. But again, I'm just going to stick with this one for now. Then I would click on this and click New Account. And this is where I would just put in my credit card information to pay for that monthly subscription. So I'll put that in right here. And then once I got that in, I'll just click Submit. And there we go. Just like that, I am already at the ZimpleMoney Plus subscription plan. So in order to create a new loan, let's just quick go through that and I can show you just how easy that is. All we got to do here is go up here where it says Start a New Contract. I'll click on that. And then I'm going to go here and click on Premium Loan Tracker. That's the fully automated system that's going to take these payments out automatically. So we'll click on that. And then once we're here, we're going to see this page, and all we have to do is start entering in all the loan information, which should be detailed on the note or the land contract or the deed of trust or whatever agreement you have between the borrower and the lender. And keep in mind, you can use this whether you are a borrower or a lender. In my case, I'm using it as the lender. But if you're ever trying to buy a property with seller financing, or if for some reason you're trying to set up a loan where you're borrowing money from somebody else for whatever reason, just keep in mind you can use this for that exact same purpose. So we'll just go ahead and put this in here. We'll call this example loan. Loan amount, we'll just put $20,000. Interest rate 9.99%. We're going to say that this is amortized, and then the loan term is going to be 60 months. And then payments are made monthly. Calculate interest from, we're going to say the closing date for this one was May 1, so we'll click on that. Then payment start date, we're going to say the first payment is due on June 1. And grace period, we're going to say 15 days in this case. Late fee would be a flat fee, and that would be $25. And these are just numbers that I typically use. I'm not saying you have to do this. This is just how I do it. And then NSF fee, we're going to leave that at $15. That's just if the borrower doesn't have sufficient funds in their account when the system goes to automatically withdraw their payment. It's just going to give them a fee of $15. And then right here, the nice thing is it also allows you to add some additional fees to the payments. So for example, whenever I do a self-closing for a seller finance deal, I'm always charging at least somewhere in the neighborhood of like $199 to $299 as like a closing or doc preparation fee, because make no mistake, it takes a lot of extra work on my part to create those documents and facilitate those closings. So in this example, I'm just going to put $199 in there. And for the fee description, I'll just put closing fee like this. We're going to add it to the payment. Then we're going to add another reoccurring fee, and this one's going to be $25, and this is going to be a servicing fee. And if you ever do use like a loan servicing company, typically the cost for those services is $25 or $15 or somewhere in that ballpark. So that really is a pretty reasonable additional cost to tack on to those monthly loan payments. So we'll put that there like that, and then we'll click here where it says recalculate. And this shows us what that monthly payment is going to be. And we can also even show the entire payment schedule if we want to, and it'll detail all that right here. And then we'll just go ahead and click next. The next step is to put in the email address of the borrower. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in another one of my email addresses just so I can show you what it looks like from the borrower's end when they get notified of this new loan that's been created. So I'll put my alternative address in here and then click next. And then it just goes ahead and details what we're going to have to be paying for as we've created this new loan here. It's going to cost $39 to set up this loan, and then 2% of the transaction amount plus $1 per transaction. So really not too terribly expensive. And given that we've included this $25 servicing fee, I mean, it's like more than paid for. And then disperse payments to the following. This is where we would have to enter in our bank account information, which is pretty easy to do. All you have to do is pull out a copy of a check from whichever bank account you want these funds to go to and put in the information shown right at the bottom of that check. So I would just go ahead and put in the name of my company here. And then this is a checking account, name on the account, put that in here as well. And the account number, that's typically the number at the bottom right side of the check. And then the routing number, that's typically the number to the left of that at the bottom of the check. And then charge my Zimple fees to the following. I'm just going to click the credit card that I just put in a few minutes ago to pay for my monthly subscriptions. It's going to charge it from that account. And go ahead and click on here, the terms of use, ZimpleMoney fees. We understand all that. And you can also see this breakdown of all the information over here on the left. So there should be no real confusion at this point about what you have to do and what's going to happen. And then we will click confirm. And then it's going to ask a little bit more information here. You will have to fill out all of the required fields. So there's just a few more left here that I haven't done yet. We'll do that quick. And that's pretty much all I have to do. So I'm going to click confirm. Okay, so from the borrower's perspective, once you put in their email address, the ZimpleMoney system is going to send them an automated email that looks like this. And all they would have to do is go right here and click view the loan. And then it's going to look like this. And if they don't have a ZimpleMoney account yet, they can go over here and click register here. And then they would go through the exact same steps I just showed you a few minutes ago in this video where they would have to go ahead and register. But once they are registered, they would see a screen that looks something like this, where they could look at this information on the left, make sure it all looks good, and then they would just accept it. And then they would enter in all of their information in the system, and then they would go down here and enter in their account information. So they would put in their bank account details just based on the information that they have on their checks, and then click confirm. And then just like that, the loan is now active. And this example is a little bit messed up because I'm recording this on June 10, and the first payment that I set up when I was creating this was on June 1. So it's showing that there's already past due payments. This shouldn't normally be showing if you set it up for a date in the future. Let's go ahead and set this up, set auto payment. And this is really what makes ZimpleMoney such a beautiful system, because once you click update, it's going to make sure that that payment comes out automatically. So nobody has to remember anything or write any checks or come back to their computer and manually make a payment or send anything through the mail. It just makes it way, way easier, puts everything on autopilot, and makes the process a lot more simple for everybody. So once we've got that all set, we'll click update, and then we are pretty much done. And keep in mind, there's also this section here where if the borrower or lender want to communicate with each other about anything like, hey, I'm late, but I'll make this payment, or, whatever, fill in the blank, you can go ahead and almost treat this like a forum where you're talking back and forth to each other and you can stay in the loop on everything. And then there's also this schedule of when all the payments are going to come out. That's usually pretty helpful for borrowers to see and be aware of. And documents, I don't have any here, but if you wanted to upload documents, like a copy of the note or the deed of trust or the land contract or the mortgage or whatever it was you put together to make this loan agreement, all you'd have to do is do that, and then both parties could see it right here. And that's really all there is to it. It's a pretty simple system. I like how it's just very straightforward for both parties to use. It's really hard to get lost in this process as long as you just follow the prompts and do what the system tells you to do, and you have all of your facts straight and your numbers in order. I mean, it will calculate things and make sure it's all coming out the way it's supposed to. So hopefully that all makes sense, and hopefully that was a helpful walkthrough of ZimpleMoney. Again, there are a number of different ways to collect payments, but I just thought ZimpleMoney was a really straightforward, pretty easy to understand method for handling the automation of these payments. And just for full disclosure, I do have an affiliate relationship with ZimpleMoney, so if you do decide to use this service, I will get a very small kickback from that, and I really appreciate your support. This is part of what keeps the RE Tipster blog alive and well. And keep in mind, there are plenty of other options out there too, so don't feel like you have to do this. I just wanted to make you aware of how easy this system is to use, and just the fact that it is available as one potential option for collecting the payments on your loans that you have outstanding. So appreciate your support very much if you decide to do that, and if not, I wish you all the best in finding another solution to handle your seller finance deals and the various loans that you're working on. Thanks again for watching, and I wish you all the best in your business.